Why, hello there. It's Mr. Pace back with you again to teach you another new song. And I like this song because it's silly, and I enjoy being silly. I think you know. So let's begin. Would you pat the beat? And I'll sing it for you. 1, 2, here I go. Deedle, deedle, dumpling, my son John went to bed with his stockings on. One shoe off and one shoe on. Deedle, deedle, dumpling, my son John. This is a strange song. First of all, stockings to you means maybe Christmas stockings. Stockings to me, growing up in the 80s, meant something very strange. As a young boy, it was these stretchy things that people wore on their legs that came from the store in these eggs. I know. And if you're an 80s child, you may get my reference, but stockings are very strange to me to be wearing in a song, especially to go to bed with stockings on. It's very weird. So let's do it again. Let's draw the phrases this time. Sorry for my stocking rabbit trail. Although stockings would get runs in them, so that's kind of like a rabbit trail. So, okay, here we go. Ready and deedle deedle dumpling, my son John went to bed with his stockings on. One shoe off and one shoe on. Deedle deedle dumpling, my son John. Now let's draw them all. Just lost my marker. Here we go. Ready, draw with me, here I go. Deedle deedle dumpling, my son John went to bed with his stockings on. One shoe off and one shoe on. Deedle deedle dumpling, my son John. Let's identify the form as we do. Deedle deedle dumpling, my son John. Who's got that one? Very good. It's A. Deedle deedle dumpling, my son John went to bed with his stockings on. That phrase is pretty different. So, if it's totally different, what do we need to call it? That's right, the next letter in the alphabet, B. Deedle deedle dumpling, my son John went to bed with his stockings on. One shoe off and one shoe on. Now don't get tricked right here. Let's listen to the first phrase and that one and see if they're similar. Loo, 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 loo. Loo, 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 loo. They sound very similar to me, so I'm going to call it what? If it's similar, we call it an A, but we have to give it A prime. A prime. Good. Not a double prime. All right, last phrase. Deedle deedle dumpling, my son John went to bed with his stockings on. One shoe off and one shoe on. Deedle deedle dumpling, my son John. I think some of you already know what that is, judging from the excitement on my face. It's kind of like the A, but it's a little bit different. It's kind of like the A prime, but still a little bit different. So we get to call it not A prime, but A double prime. I like to have a party when I have a double prime because it reminds me of a double prime rib. Not just a prime rib, double prime rib, stacked up on my plate. Anyway, let's sing the song together. And I'll do the guitar this time. And you can watch the phrases to see if it matches. Ready? 1, 2, ready, here we go. Deedle deedle dumpling, my son John went to bed with his stockings on. One shoe off and one shoe on. Deedle deedle dumpling, my son John. Good. Now, because this is a silly song, I like to make it even a little bit sillier by thinking maybe of some other sons that I might have had that would do even stranger things than wearing stockings to bed. Let's try this one. Deedle deedle dumpling, my son Tim went to bed in a high tree limb. 1 foot out and 1 foot in. Deedle deedle dumpling, my son Tim. What about deedle deedle dumpling, my son Jack went to bed on an alligator's back. 1 foot tight and 1 foot slack. Deedle deedle dumpling, my son Jack. Deedle, deedle, dumpling, my son Dan went to bed in a frying pan. 1 foot can't and 1 foot can. Deedle, deedle, dumpling, my son Dan. Deedle, deedle, dumpling, my son Hezekiah went to bed with a pizza pie. 1 foot lower and 1 foot higher. Deedle, deedle, dumpling, my son Hezekiah. Can't go out any better than that. Well, see you guys next time. Pizza. Pizza pie.